Friends, welcome to the Wealth Overflow Podcast. And today we have top successful real estate person with us, Mr. Manjunath Hiramat. Welcome, Manjunath, to the Wealth Overflow Podcast. And before we go ahead, I want you to introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello everyone, good evening. First of all, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. My name is Manjunath Hiramat. I'm a civil engineer by profession and realtor by passion. What I do is I help people to achieve their financial goals through real estate.
Tell us about your journey from a civil engineering to the entrepreneurship. Like what made you enter in the real estate industry?
Right from the beginning, I was always attracted, or you can say fascinated by the structures, and that led me to take the civil engineering stream. And as I was studying civil engineering and practicing civil engineering, I was designing structures, the technical aspects of it, how a space is created, how it is built and designed. But as I was doing this, I got to realize that spaces have a very huge impact on people's life. It is not only about a built structure, but it is also the impact that it has on people's life, that whether it is psychological or financial. So that's when I thought that it is not only about building, but to go a step ahead, to guide people to make better spaces and how to utilize them to purchase those properties and take a wise financial decision when it comes to purchasing the property.
Fantastic. Now, Manjunath, what problem did you see in the market that people were ignoring?
What I noticed initially is that people were taking, first of all, purchasing property is one of the biggest decisions of one's life. And people were just taking this decision based on emotion. The logical part was missing. And there was no one in the market that would actually guide you to take the better decision. So people were taking decision based out of fear of missing out, what you call FOMO, and people were taking decisions emotionally rather than thinking the long-term effects of that property buying decision, and which had a very huge impact on their life. So I would say that was the biggest gap. Secondly, what I saw is that when people purchased property, they did not take into consideration the impact that it will have on their life. So what people used to do is they thought that they had no idea about the hidden charges or the charges, the additional charges that is required to own and maintain a property. So they would on that emotion, they would just flow into that emotion and purchase a property which is beyond their capacity, and then later on regret.
Understood.
So that is one of the biggest mistake I think which people are doing.
Starting business in India nowadays is easy, but to remain in the business is the most problem. Am I right?
So that's correct. Absolutely.
What were the biggest struggles in the early phase when you wanted to start, to maintain that business? What were the biggest struggles you had in your early phase?
Initially, the biggest challenge that we had is credibility. Since property decision, purchasing a property is one of the biggest decision of somebody's or person's life, then they would want to entrust on a person who has vast knowledge and experience. So initially, coming from a civil engineering background, establishing that trust and credibility within the people was the biggest challenge. But as we started practicing and we started delivering our values and our services to people realized that we are trustworthy and we are qualified people. Because real estate being an unorganized sector, there are many people, many brokers, I would say, in the market which misguide people, and people have burned their hands. But somebody like us, when we entered into the market and we gave them value and we educated our clients, that's when they realized that these people are credible and trustworthy, and that's when we started growing. Another this thing I would say challenge is which we faced. I mean, and all of us usually in this sector face is um, about the pace versus the trust. Like what usually happens is that since real estate being a fast moving sector in terms of sales, people usually push the buyers to complete the transaction as soon as possible.
Understood.
Correct. So whereas our model is completely based on trust and advisory led. So what we do is that we guide people and we tell them all the pros and the cons of a property, even if it takes longer duration of time for the transaction to get completed.
Understood.
So that is initially it looks lucrative to close many number of deals and move fast, but then like we had to overcome that.
It's exactly
Uh,
like because most of the broker push a customer to sign. Okay, they take their brokerage, they move out. It
Correct.
doesn't matter what happens to them, and the investor actually lose the money. Correct. Now,
That's correct.
and because they doesn't try to give the transparency what is required for a person to take a right decision. Now here's a question for you: why did you choose a transparency and advisory led real estate instead of traditional brokerage?
The main reason was the gap that we saw in the market. On a personal basis, there were many people who came to us and told their experiences with the brokers, with the traditional brokerage, what people say. Because nowadays, every other third person wants to be a broker or tries to be a broker without having proper knowledge. And what we saw is that although there was a lot of information in the market, you can nowadays because of technology you can find information everywhere, but that education and trust was lacking. So that is the reason why we decided that we should get into this in a very formal and proper way and educate the clients about the long term effect that it has, and what are the hidden things that you should know, even not only in terms of the financially but also emotionally, the kind of impact that is going to have, the construction quality. Because being a civil engineer, I have that advantage that I can go a step beyond just the transaction or a deal and see whether that structure is actually safe and built in a proper way and has delivered a good quality.
Great, great. Was there a defining moment that changed your vision?
Defining moment, as in, say, I was practicing civil engineering and I was continuing to do that. But when I saw that, because people were taking decisions without having this proper technical knowledge about what exactly is happening, and then since real estate is the it falls at the junction wherein uh, lifestyle, architecture, finance, psychology, everything comes together. So it is one of the most important aspect of a person's life. A person's dream is to have their own house. So when I saw people struggling or actually getting cheated in this field, that's when and it was happening in front of us because we were the people who were actually building and designing structures. And when it is not getting into the right hands properly, that's when it struck my mind that it's time that we should take an initiative to inculcate these values of educating the client and maintaining this transparency. Of course, money is important, but beyond financial success, what I strive for is impact. What impact can I have on people's life? What legacy am I going to leave behind? Is it just uh, the financial amount that I'm going to accumulate, or is it the values or the people that have earned? Because the relationship with clients is something that that happiness, that satisfaction is no, you are not going to earn through money. So that is what I strive for. I strive for that freedom to take decisions on my own, to follow the path that I want to take, and that ability to guide and help more people as much as possible.
Got it. why the real estate is still one of the strongest wealth building tools.
Because uh, for me personally, I feel real estate is one of those asset classes wherein over the long period of time, if you have that discipline or that vision, a long-term vision, then you can make fortune out of it. Because real estate is the only asset class wherein you can leverage, you can actually borrow money, own an asset class, and it will continue to generate that value. And since land is a very limited resource, God has stopped creating land. So that limited resource creates that increased demand because there is shortage of supply. And I think irrespective of what the market situation is, real estate is always going to appreciate. Of course, there is going to be cycles of correction, but I think over the long period of time, real estate will always appreciate.
Okay. What mistakes do the first time home buyer commonly make?
What I've noticed is that usually people, when they purchase a property, they usually tend to take decisions themselves without seeking proper guidance or without taking or appointing a professional. So usually when you purchase a property, it requires that you do a proper due diligence, that you study the market, the location, you understand the long-term effect that is going to have. So all of this requires a proper person to guide you. So what I've seen is that people to save on let's say a few thousand rupees, they appoint a wrong lawyer or they don't hire a lawyer at all, or to save on the brokerage, they directly deal with people, and they lose that advantage that you might have of this additional market knowledge and negotiating skills.
Now, how can people identify genuinely good property investment?
Okay, when it comes to a property, right, instead of following the hype, you should look at the fundamentals. What is the underlying potential that property has? Whether it's location, upcoming development around that location, whether this property has that potential to grow over a period of time, whether will it sustain the fluctuations in the market. All these aspects are very important. When it comes to build structures, you should also look at the build quality. Who is the developer or the builder who has developed this project? And also the design, who has designed it and how is it designed? Because it over the long period of time, as you occupy that space or a property, it has an impact on your daily living. How is your mood when you live in that particular house? Suddenly, let's say there is a need that you want to liquidate this asset, will it give you that resale value or not? All these factors that needs to be taken into factor when you purchase a property and take that decision.
Great. Now, a lot of NRIs want to invest in Goa. Okay.
Yes.
How should NRI approach investing in Goa?
So usually what happens is that NRIs try to uh, look at the influencers or the marketing agency marketing a property over the digital media, and they get attracted, and they without doing proper study, they invest the money. I've had cases of my previous clients wherein without doing proper due diligence or proper study and without proper guidance, they have invested into a property and now they are stuck for a very long time. So NRI needs to have someone who can represent them locally, who has a market knowledge and experience, and then with the proper guidance invest their money, because Goa has a lot of potential. And I think that and you can purchase a value at a very good value compared to the international market. You are getting properties at a very good price.
If
So
the choice is
I think
available to buy the property in Dubai or buy property in Goa, which one you will suggest?
I would always suggest that, of course, Goa is the best market right now to invest, because Goa, since because of its limited geography, has a very limited land, and since it is one of the most sought after tourist attractions, the people all over the country and all over the globe wants to come and settle down here. I have
Oh,
seen people who wants to migrate to Goa because of the lifestyle that it offers, the life quality it offers, and because of that reason, I think Goa is the best place to invest right now. Yes, of course, I would always recommend my clients to diversify their portfolio in real estate. But initially, if you're starting with and you want to invest in India, then I think Goa is the right place to start with.
great, great. What makes a Goa attractive for investor today?
If you have seen the trend post during COVID and post COVID, because of the changing world order and the stress in the metro cities, the traffic, all these things have led for people to think about their life choices. Do you really want to be spending your life stuck in a traffic, or you want to move to a better place which offers better air quality, uh, less traffic, and also appreciation over a period of time? Because uh, in Goa, it not only offers you a good real estate market, but a good lifestyle, a very friendly and warm culture, and the people, the kind of people that we have here, that is something that will automatically increase your life expectancy, I would say, and also it will help you to be lead a better life.
Great, great. Now imagine I have a 5 crore in my hand. I want to invest it
Hmm.
and make it double faster as possible. So what, as an advisor, which property or which inventory will suggest me? Because my pure is not a lifestyle, but I want to make my money double as faster as possible. 5 crore to the 10 crore in the short period. So which inventory will suggest to me, or which product you will suggest to me in the real estate?
Okay. First of all, let me tell you is real estate is not like equity market, wherein over a short period of time you can double or triple your money, because it's a long-term game. Real estate is a long-term game. So here you will have to have that patience to invest and then wait for a time for it to appreciate. Still, in the same time phase, if you want to reduce that
No,
timeline,
everything is fine. Everything is fine, what you are saying. But I want to double as an investor. Got it, no?
yes,
So
yes.
which one you will suggest in a short?
So then, see, over a short period of time, what I do or I help my clients with is investing in under construction properties which has potential to appreciate once the project gets completed. So
Okay.
at the launch stage, if you invest your amount or your capital, then as the project gets completed, there is a good chances that the property value will get appreciated and you can get a better returns. Also, if you
So
invest
to
in
become an investor
developing.
in a builder, right? To become an investor with a builder, correct? That is what you are suggesting.
That's correct. That's correct. So you can pick the units right at the launch stage, and then as the project gets completed, you can flip those properties and you can sell it for a higher appreciation.
Okay.
Also,
So what is
there
the
are few.
percentage, roughly, what is the percentage of discount do we get when we directly invest with a developer or a builder?
So it depends on again the kind of channel partner you go through with, because channel partner has that potential or has that negotiating skill to get you a good offer. But what I have seen is that initially you get the property for a very good price at a very good discount, and then as the project gets completed, there is always an appreciation of 10, 20, 30% depending on the kind of project and which location you invest in. But these are the kind of returns that even equity market has not given you over a period of time.
Great, great, great. What role does a due diligence play in a property buying?
Due diligence play a very important role when you purchase a property in Goa. Why I'm stressing on due diligence is because in especially in Goa, the paperwork is slightly complicated because of the Portuguese rule. So there are documentation which goes back to dates back to the pre-liberation era. So because of that reason, for you to be safe and in the future to have that potential to resale and have a stress-free purchase, it is very important that you do your due diligence properly. There have been cases wherein properties have been acquired by different people or it has been encroached by somebody. There have been cases wherein people have been cheated of the ownership. The landowners are not in Goa, they are abroad, and the properties have been sold without the
Okay.
knowledge of the actual owner. So, because of all these reasons, it is always advisable that you do your due diligence properly, appoint best of the lawyers, appoint best of the property consultants, and only then go ahead with purchase of a property.
So, Manjunath, what trends are shaping the future of Goa real estate?
So, recently, what is being seen is that people are migrating from these heavily crowded metro cities to places which offers them a good quality of life and also places that will help them relax while delivering these high pressure jobs at these high pressure jobs. So the trend is many people, or especially the young couples, are moving to Goa to settle down and work remotely. Also, there have been many. We have seen many startup founders and the startups themselves are shifting to Goa and shifting the entire workforce and their offices to Goa because to increase their productivity and creativity. So that is the trend that we see, and also the second home market has grown exponentially in Goa. Many people, affluent people who wants to have a second home apart from their hometown, are investing in Goan real estate market, which will serve as a holiday destination for them, as an escape from their high stress daily life. So these trends are actually causing that increasing the demand in the real estate market, and that is the reason why we can see a lot of properties being sold here in Goa.
Okay. So we can call it as a like a vacation. People are coming here for calm, right? Calmation.
Yes, yes, that's correct. That's correct.
What creates a long-term property appreciation?
So property, or let's say land or a real estate unit, has its own intrinsic value, which over the period of time keeps on developing or growing. So there are other factors which actually enhances this growth. For example, the development around that area. For example, the kind of infrastructure that government is coming up with in that particular locality. The demand supply gap. That is another factor that adds on to the value of the property. Apart from that, what USP that property itself has. And that what unique geographical location it is situated at. All these factors, along with the safety, the safety and the community that it is surrounded with, all these factors help in over the long period of time to appreciate and grow that real estate asset class to a higher value.
Okay, got it. What is the behind you forming your company and naming it as a builder and brokers? What is the idea behind it?
Okay, so that's actually a very funny story behind keeping this name. So what happened is that me and my partner, we were both serving these two categories of services. One is builders, as the name says, is into construction, and brokers as doing the real estate or uh, helping with real estate transaction or the providing the advisory services for real estate transactions. So we were doing these two things parallelly. So we what we are of the opinion, or what is our values, is that we always keep things transparent and simple. That's the way we work. So we thought, like, instead of keeping some fancy names or something that people will not understand, instead of that we decided that we will keep the name that shows or which says about us, what we do, what are the services that we offer. So that's why we kept it as builders and brokers, which is what our company do, which is providing a turnkey solution when it comes to property. That is right from initiation of helping you purchase a property to get it designed, built, and delivered to you.
Okay.
So that
As a
is the
coach, can I
complete
suggest
life
a
cycle.
better name? But can I suggest you better name for your company?
Please go ahead.
It can be BNB, builders and
Yes,
brokers.
yes. So actually, we have a sister concern with that name as well,
Fantastic.
with called as BNB Balcao. So that segment of us or that company handles the property management part of the
Okay.
real estate.
In Goa, there are a lot of Portuguese houses are there. So, what is your
Correct.
idea that people investing in that? Because people I've seen lot of people appreciate seeing those. They get fascinated with seeing those houses, big houses. But most of them are empty and not utilized. So, do you have any idea or any of your client has used those houses in doing something?
Yes. So, first of all, Mr. Sameer, I would like to term this as Goan heritage houses rather than Portuguese houses, because yes, of course, they are Portuguese influenced, but these are typical to Goa. It has its unique blend of the Goan culture, the Portuguese culture, and the Indian culture overall. So, these Goan houses offer a very unique, prospect, because of course, as you said, it is very beautiful. Goan houses are no longer being built because you don't have that kind of workman to build that kind of
Correct,
structure
correct.
anymore. So because of that uniqueness and that limited supply of these Goan houses, people are attracted towards it. Apart from that, this not only they look beautiful aesthetically, but they are very functional. They're very functional. They were built with an open courtyard, and they used to encourage socializing amongst the
Okay.
people. So
Okay.
that is the reason why they have that value. But the reason nowadays we see that most of the houses uh, are lying empty or like they are in a very bad condition is because the generations have failed to maintain them in that condition. And also, I mean, it has a lot of there are maintenance costs to it, and also the workmanship to get those kind of workers to maintain these places is very difficult these days. So because of
Got
these
it.
reasons, these places are remaining empty. But coming to your another point, the next point, which is uh, people purchasing them and transforming them. So I had a client who had a very much interest for these kind of houses, like heritage houses, uh, and they were very much into conservation and conserving the culture. So what they did is that they purchased this old dilapidated Goan house and they renovated in such a way that it looks amazing. It takes you back into that era, and the amount of happiness and fulfillment I see in their eyes, that is unmatchable.
Great, great. Thank you for answering that and giving the clear picture about what is happening in that era. Why is the trust
Correct.
becoming the biggest currency in the real estate?
Because as I told you, there is a lot of information in the market. You go online and you search, and you will get the information of the properties which are available. But then, when it comes to taking a decision, you cannot rely on the data which is available or the AI tools. You need a human intellect to guide you on taking the decision. And what has happened is that because of many reasons, people have had bad experiences in the market, which has led to lack of trust. That's when people like us come into picture to build that trust and credibility by giving the services, that value addition, by guiding the clients in a proper direction. For example, if a client comes to me and they want to purchase a particular property, if we ask them certain questions and we understand what is their requirement, and if that is something which does not suit them, then we tell them not to go ahead with that, which otherwise other brokers just push the clients to purchase a property. So because of this, and since it is a very a big decision of people's life, I think that element of trust will always come into the picture.
Got it, got it. How is Goa emerging as a remote working and entrepreneurship hub?
Yes, it's doing wonders. If you see the recent trends, there is a huge influx of young crowd or the young population across the country who is coming. to Goa to work remotely because of the change in work culture, which encourages people to work remotely, and of course, for all the possible reasons that it has increased the productivity of the people or the employees. So, because of that reason, especially the the IT and tech background people are coming to Goa, and they are working from here. And I also encourage and also see that even the government are taking initiatives like Shakathon to encourage these people to work from Goa, because that is a way of increasing the tourism and giving a boost to our tourism. So that trend is increasing day by day, and I see a very huge potential in this sector.
Great. What mindset creates a long-term success for any businessman?
Uh, I would say discipline is the first important thing that I would say. And instead of going after the short-term success, if you stay consistent and stay disciplined, that will help you to attain that long-term success. So entrepreneurs should not follow or go after the trends, but work on the fundamentals and have that patience and work consistently to achieve the success. And the success will definitely come to you.
Great. Now, tell me one thing. What separates a successful entrepreneurs from a struggling ones? Okay. Now, when coming to the real estate, what are the major systems required for any entrepreneur to successful in real estate?
So in real estate sector, right, the amount of data that you have is so much that you will get confused easily. So until unless you have system and processes in place, you will get lost. So what we do as a company is that we have a proper system in place wherein we have assigned certain people to do certain tasks. That is the first thing that we have done, is that we have segregated the data of the people and allocated to certain people who are specialists in that particular sector. For example, if we have to handle a sales department, we have a sales person for that. If there is a support that needs to be given, we have support, and proper due diligence, we have a legal team for that. So these are the systems that we have put in a proper structured way, and the client is each and every client is monitored through their entire life cycle, right from onboarding them till we deliver our service. So working in this proper, organized, and professional way helps us to close more deals and deliver value to our clients.
Great. Fantastic. What habits have you have contributed most to your growth?
Uh, I would say the most important thing is patience and being calm in chaos. So what happens is, from outside, entrepreneurship looks very easy and flashy, but in reality there are a lot of pressures and there are a lot of expectations that comes along with it. And until unless you are patient and calm in those situations, you will not be able to take the right decision. So I think this, along with disciplined way of thinking and following systems, is something that has helped me to reach so far, and I hope that this will continue to grow me as a person.
Great. How important is a continuous learning today in this business world?
I think it's very critical to keep on learning throughout our life, because we are living in a very fast changing world. And you need to there are two kind of mindset in people. There is something called as fixed mindset and growth mindset. So if you want to grow in your life and achieve things, then you should have that growth mindset and keep on learning throughout your life. And learning, when I say, it's not only learning through books, but learning through experiences, through people, because these are the kind of learnings that will stay with you for a long time. And in today's day and world, when there is abundance of knowledge, I think learning is has become very easy. So I don't think there is any excuse for learning in today's date. And I think it is very essential that if you want to reach somewhere in your life, then you cannot put a full stop for learning.
Great. What does the wealth mean to you personally?
Personally, for me, wealth is freedom. Freedom to make the choices, freedom to take the decisions that I want to take. And wealth, of course, the monetary wealth is important, but along with that, the physical health is also the biggest wealth in today's day and time that anybody can have. As they say, it is about the survival of the fittest. So, if you are not fit, you will not be able to create that wealth and accumulate that wealth. And together with discipline and freedom, if you combine all of this, then I think this all together is what I would define as wealth for me.
How do you see the real estate creating that wealth overflow for the most of the HNIs, most of the successful uh, businessmen? Because the 90% of the millionaires who come, they come from the real estate. Got it, no? How you see the real estate actually making that situation where the wealth is overflow?
Yes, that's correct. Because as I told you before, is the real estate is kind of asset class which has a potential to make fortune for you. Because a land or a property it has a potential to exponentially grow over a period of time, even irrespective of what the market situation is. When I say market, it's equity market. The real estate keeps on growing, and what you can do is that with that asset and ownership, you can leverage it and to build more wealth while you own that property. For example, if you have a land, you can mortgage it and utilize that capital to invest it in another place and grow that capital. So in this way, many people have used this strategy to achieve financial success in their life, and hence, and they do not only restrict to a certain asset class, but they diversify their portfolio and use real estate as an leverage to grow their income.
Great, great. What legacy do you want to create?
That's a good question. So I would say
Because I've seen most of the real estate, they are busy in making the wealthy wealthier, but many times they forget about the self.
correct, correct. I think yeah, the legacy that I want to leave behind is that reputation of being trustworthy person who not only help people to take a decision but had an impact on their life. Like someone who people can look up to trust them on their life savings. So even after I'm gone, I would want the future generation to take on this and follow the same values and deliver help not only, as you said, the wealthy, but also the people who are in need, the people who are buying their first house, people who are purchasing their first property, or who are migrating to a different place in terms of searching for job opportunities and finding, let's say, a rental property. So I would want to leave that legacy behind, wherein people can blindly trust us with all their life savings and take a better decision in their life.
Great, great. Here's the last question for you. What message would you like to give to the entrepreneurs and investors who are watching this podcast?
I would have a common suggestion for both of them is to think long term, because both in entrepreneurship and in investing, uh, you cannot expect to grow just overnight. You need to have that long term thinking. For entrepreneurship, you need to put in that much amount of hard work and efforts to grow, which happens over a period of time. So, and do not take failures as setbacks, but as opportunities to learn and grow. Similarly, for investors, I would say is that you need to think long term. When you're entering a real estate cycle, you need to know that this you once you put in your money, you need to have that holding capacity, and you need to have that patience to let that capital compound over a period of time and then achieve that success. So once you have that mindset of thinking long term, then I think both in your business life as well as in your investing life, you can succeed.
Manjunath, it was a great pleasure having as a guest on our Wealth Overflow podcast. And I'm sure every viewer who is watching this podcast will actually take your advice and apply in their life and use real estate also as a medium to become a wealthy and to create a situation of the wealth overflow. So thank you so much for joining us for this podcast and wish you all the best in the future endeavor. And would like to see you on the top. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sameer, for having me, and I had a great time.